Hello, National University Academy students. Mr. Goyette. Wanted to get in touch with Jessica and a few of the students that are working on the Algebra 9B or 1B course, 9th grade course or 10th grade course. And we're going to look at trinomials of the type ax squared plus bx plus c. And this is, you can find this in your algebra book in chapter 8, section 6. And while you're there, you can vote on a topic that Jessica and I, of course, will be going back and forth on for as long as there is breath in our lungs. Whether Carmello Anthony or Kobe is a better basketball player, and of course I'm sure there'll be plenty of votes in favor of Kobe Bryant, but we all know that Carmello, hearkening from Syracuse University, is the better player. Let's please be clear on that. But you can vote who's better, add that to the roles there. But let's look at our algebra problem. We have trinomials here, and trinomials, a trinomial means, tri means 3, right? 1, 2, 3, or 3 terms. We have 7x squared minus 20x minus 3. So what are you going to do with this? Well, I want to find my terms. I want to find my factors of my numbers out on the wings here. And my factors of 7 are 1 times 7, these being a prime number, and 1 times 3. Fernney and I were working on these today. So these are both prime numbers. It's going to make my work, or our work, a little easier when you have prime numbers, because when you set up your parentheses and try to come up with your binomials, you can figure things out a little easier. So I know that my first term, when I FOIL, and you all remember that FOIL is first, outer, inner, last, or first, outside, inside, last, however it was taught to you. Either way, first, outer, inner, last, first, outside, inside, last. The first term, I know I want to start with the 7. Because whether the x is here or the 7x is here, I know I have to end up with 7x squared. So I'm going to start with 7x here and x here, so I get that 7x here, 7x squared here. But before I go there, I'm just going to leave that alone. So I know my end result needs to be this. What I'm trying to do is get back to this equation. All right, there's also the box method we'll talk about later, but today I'm just going to look at the guess and check method. So now I have 7x and x in my binomial. The other problem I'm going to have here is I'm going to go with a positive 1, because I know 1 times 7 is 7. I'm going to go with a negative 3, because I know I need to end with a negative 3, and I know that a positive times a negative is a negative, and that a positive times a positive is a positive, a negative times a negative is indeed a negative. So let's look at how we're going to FOIL this. First, outer, inner, last. My first term is 7x, so I'm going to go across this way. And when I do that, I'm going to end up with 7x squared. And then I'm going to, my outside terms, first my outer terms, 7x times negative 3, I'm going to get negative 21x. And my inside terms, on the inside of this couple here, on the inside, 1 times x is positive x. I could put the 1 there. I don't need it there, because any x with any x by itself, we know it has a 1 in front of it. And then finally, making space from the end of my equation, I have 1 times a negative 3 is a negative 3. When I combine my terms, these center terms here in the middle, I know there's no other x squared terms, and there are no other terms that are by themselves without a variable. So I'm going to end up with 7x squared minus 20x minus 3. If I guessed right, if I checked my factors correctly, this should look identical to this. In other words, this is the same. Therefore, for my teacher's benefit, I'm going to circle or highlight or in some way circle my answer. If I'm going through a guess and check method, I may mix up my signs the first time. First time we do this, we might have a negative here or positive there. Whatever the case, if you messed up the first time, leave that on the paper. Your teacher wants to see it. Your teacher wants to see your thought process. You get credit for showing your work. In fact, for the most part, showing your work is more important than the answer, the process of getting it. As a teacher, when I see a number next to the question, or number 6, and the answer is just 5 or x plus 6, I immediately think, gee, did they look this up in the back of the book? Did they just guess? So what we're looking for as teachers is the process. It's more important than the answer alone. Sure enough, I have to have that answer highlighted or pointed out to me. So if you're doing that, your teacher will be able to spot it and grade your work in your favor so that you pass the assignment or the test the first time. So if we have time, let's see if we can get one more in. I'll rush through this. So we're doing trinomials again. Let me look at one more. Let's look at one that Fernney and I worked on today. 2n squared plus 15n plus 7. 2n squared plus 15n plus 7. Okay, I got 3 minutes left. So what's the first thing I'm going to ask myself when I look at this? I'm going to look at my factors for these two numbers. I know that 2 is a prime number. I know that 7 is a prime number. It makes my work easy. Up here, 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 7 is 7. When I set this up, I'm going to have my two binomials here that I'm going to guess and check on, and then FOIL. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go 2n, and then I'm going to do n. And then here I might have, let's see, I look at this. Now I'm looking for patterns. I'm looking for patterns in my numbers. And I noticed that 15 is 1 more than 2 times 7, which is 14. And that's important because I'm looking for patterns. So if 2 times 7 is 14, and I add 1 to it, I'm going, there's a 1 here and there's a 1 here. So if I end up having to add a 1 somewhere, that's good. So my signs are probably going to stay positive all around. So if I go plus 1 and plus 7, I'm going to try this. Let's see if this works out. I have 2 minutes left. So 2n times n is, for my first step, 2n times n is 2n squared. And my outside, 2 times 7 is 14 plus 14n. And then plus 1 times n is n. And 1 times 7 is 7. Now look at my elbow out of the way here. What did I do? I went 2 times n is n squared. 2 times 7 is 14n. 1 times n is n. And then 1 times 7 is 7. I FOILed it. First, outer, inner, last. First, outside, inside, last. Whatever you prefer, and math teachers probably have their preference. I'm an English and history teacher, so it probably shows because I don't stick to the fundamentals on some of these. But let's finish this one out. So now I'm going to combine my like terms here. I don't have any other squared terms here, so let's go 2n squared plus 15n plus 7. Looks like we're doing okay. Let's see if that matches what I started with. 2n squared, 15n. Positive, positive. I check my signs. If I turn it in and one of these signs is wrong, just like your chemistry teacher needs to have that quantity there, grams, if it's grams or centimeters or whatever, if that's not added on there, or if these, in your math, for your math classes, if this plus or minus is